Kang Minho stood at the large window of the space station and watched the stars. His reflection stared back at him, showing the long scar that ran across his chest. Even through his diplomatic uniform, he could feel the old wound. It always hurt a little when he was nervous, and today he was very nervous. The space station called Harmony's Edge floated in empty space between Earth and the Viridian homeworld. It was built just for this meeting. Humans had never met aliens before. The Viridians had sent messages saying they wanted to talk about peace and trade. Earth's government picked their best people to come here and speak for all humanity. Minho touched his chest where the scar was hidden. He got it 2 years ago during the war between Earth's colonies. His younger brother Jiho had been on a ship full of families trying to escape the fighting. Enemy soldiers attacked the ship. Minho threw himself between the weapons and the ship. The blast that nearly killed him had saved hundreds of people, including children. But Jiho still died when the ship's engine exploded later. "The aliens will be here soon," said Park Suman as she walked up to him. She was a scientist who studied alien life, though she had never seen real aliens before today. Her voice was calm, but Minho could see she was excited and scared too. "Are you ready for this?" she asked. Minho nodded. "As ready as anyone can be for meeting beings from another world." The Earth team had 6 people. There was Minho, who would do most of the talking. Suman would help understand the aliens' biology. Nam Do-hyun was their security chief, a big man who always looked serious. Dr. Kim Sua was their mind expert who studied how people think and feel. Captain Lee Min-jae was their pilot and technical expert. The team leader was Ambassador Chen Wei, an older man who had been a diplomat for 30 years. They waited in the main meeting room. The room had been designed to make both humans and aliens feel comfortable. The lights could change color and brightness. The air could be made warmer or cooler. The chairs could adjust to fit different body shapes. Everything was clean and white and peaceful. "Remember," said Ambassador Chen, "we don't know how they communicate. They might not understand our faces or hand movements. Be careful with your words, be polite. Don't make sudden moves." A soft sound filled the room. The air shimmered like water, and then the aliens appeared. Minho had seen pictures, but seeing them in person was different. They were tall and thin, almost like humans, but not quite. Their skin looked like it was made of crystal that caught and bent the light. Their eyes were large and silver. They moved like they were floating even though they walked on the floor. The alien in front was clearly their leader. She wore clothes that seemed to be made of liquid light. Her crystal skin glowed softly blue and green. When she looked at the humans, her silver eyes seemed to see right through them. "I am Queen Lyralee of the Viridian Empire," she said. Her voice was musical, like wind chimes. "We come in peace to learn about your kind." Ambassador Chen stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, welcome to Harmony's Edge. I am Ambassador Chen Wei, speaking for Earth and all humanity." The Queen's large eyes looked at each human in turn. When her gaze reached Minho, it stopped. She stared at him for a long moment, tilting her head slightly. Minho felt strange, like she was trying to read his thoughts. He kept his face calm, but inside he felt nervous. "This one," the Queen said, still looking at Minho. "He carries pain." The other aliens looked at Minho too. Their eyes seemed to glow brighter. Minho didn't know what to say. How could she know about his pain? How could she sense the scar under his clothes? "We all carry some pain, Your Majesty," said Ambassador Chen quickly. "It is part of being human." The Queen finally looked away from Minho. "How interesting. We must learn more about this." The meeting continued with formal introductions. The Queen had brought 4 other Viridians. There was Commander Thys, who seemed to be their military leader. The others were advisors and scientists. They spoke politely about trade and peace, but Minho could feel the Queen's attention returning to him again and again. During a break, Suman pulled Minho aside. "Did you notice how she keeps looking at you?" she whispered. "Hard to miss," Minho said. "Do you think it's a problem?" "I don't know. Maybe she can sense something about you that the rest of us don't have." When the meeting resumed, they moved to a dining area for a formal meal. The humans had prepared food that would be safe for the aliens to eat. The aliens had brought some of their own food to share. Everything tasted strange but not bad. During dinner, a young human diplomat named Kim Tae-ho accidentally knocked over his drink. The liquid spilled toward some important alien documents. Without thinking, Minho jumped up and caught the glass before it could do more damage. He used his napkin to clean up the spill quickly. "I'm sorry," Tae-ho said. his face red with embarrassment. No harm done, Minho said gently. He helped clean up the rest of the mess. The queen watched this whole thing happen. Her crystal skin seemed to glow brighter. She leaned toward Commander Thiss and whispered something in their musical language. Later, as the evening ended, the queen approached Minho directly. The other humans stepped back to give them space, but stayed close enough to help if needed. You protected the young one, she said. It was just an accident, Minho replied. No big deal. For us, protection without being asked is very meaningful. Your people do this often? Minho thought about it. When someone needs help, yes. We try to help. The queen's silver eyes studied his face. Even when it might hurt you? Minho's hand moved unconsciously to his chest where the scar was hidden. Especially then, the queen noticed the movement. Her eyes seemed to see right through his clothes to the scar underneath. Tomorrow we will talk more, she said. There is much about your kind that we must understand. As the aliens left, Minho felt that his life was about to change in ways he couldn't imagine. The queen's words echoed in his mind. What did she mean about protection? What had she seen in him that made her so interested? Outside the window, the stars continued to shine, cold and distant. But somehow Minho felt that the universe had just become a much smaller and more connected place. The next morning, Minho woke up feeling tired. He had dreamed about the queen's silver eyes all night. In his dreams, she kept asking him questions he couldn't answer. When he looked in the mirror, his scar seemed darker than usual. The Earth team met for breakfast in their private dining room. Ambassador Chen looked worried as he read reports on his tablet. The talks aren't going well, he said. The Viridians say we're too hard to understand. They think we're hiding something from them. What do you mean hiding? Asked Dr. Kim Sua. They keep saying we feel empty to them. Like we don't have real emotions, Suman frowned. That's strange. Humans are very emotional creatures. Maybe we just express emotions differently than they do, said Minho. Ambassador Chen nodded. That's what I'm hoping. But if we can't figure this out, the talks might fail. They might decide we're too different to work with. The morning session took place in a different room. This one was more comfortable, with soft chairs arranged in a circle. The queen sat across from Minho again. She wore different clothes today, ones that changed color as she moved. Commander Thiss spoke first. We have discussed your species through the night. We find you difficult to read. In what way? Asked Ambassador Chen. Your emotions are locked away, said the queen. We can sense that you feel things, but you hide them deep inside. This makes us wonder if you can be trusted. Dr. Kim Sua leaned forward. Your Majesty, humans often control their emotions to avoid hurting others. We've learned that showing too much feeling can sometimes cause problems. The queen's crystal skin flickered with different colors. Show us what you mean. Dr. Sua looked uncomfortable. Well, if I'm very sad about something, I might not show it because I don't want to make my friends sad too. But how can your friends help you if they don't know you're sad? Asked Commander Thiss. Sometimes they can't, Minho said quietly. Sometimes we carry pain alone so others don't have to. The queen turned to look at him. Her silver eyes seemed to glow. You speak as if you know this personally. Minho felt everyone looking at him. His chest began to hurt where the scar was. I think most humans know it. Tell us about your pain, the queen said gently. Ambassador Chen started to interrupt, but the queen held up her hand. Please, we must understand. Minho took a deep breath. He had never talked about Jiho to strangers before. But something in the queen's voice made him want to answer. I had a younger brother named Jiho. He was funny and smart and kind. During our civil war, he was on a ship with families trying to escape the fighting. Enemy soldiers attacked the ship. The room was very quiet. Even the air seemed to stop moving. I was on a nearby space station. When I saw what was happening, I took a small fighter ship and flew between the enemy weapons and the family ship. I got hit instead of them. You were hurt, the queen said. It wasn't a question. Yes, but the families lived, at least for a while. Minho's voice got quieter. The ship's engine was damaged. It exploded later. Jiho died with everyone else. The queen's skin changed to a deep blue color, so your pain saved no one. It saved them for a few more hours. Some of the children got to say goodbye to their parents. Some people got to tell their families they loved them one last time. That's worth something. Commander Thiss looked confused. But you were hurt for nothing. I was hurt for hope, Minho said. Even if it was just hope for a few more hours. The queen stood up suddenly. Her skin was glowing so bright it hurt to look at. "We need to stop for today." As the aliens left, Suman came over to Minho. "Are you okay? You didn't have to tell them about Jiho." "I know, but she needed to understand something about us. I'm just not sure what." That afternoon, Suman asked Minho to walk with her to the science section of the station. She had been studying the aliens' biology and behavior. "I think I figured out something important," she said as they walked. "The Viridians don't just talk with words. They share emotions directly with each other." "What do you mean?" "They can feel what other people feel. It's like they have an extra sense that lets them know if someone is happy or sad or angry, but it only works if the emotions are strong and open." Minho stopped walking. "That's why they think we're empty." "Exactly. We keep our feelings inside so they can't sense them. To them, we probably seem like we have no feelings at all." "But the Queen said she could sense my pain." Suman looked thoughtful. "Maybe your pain is so strong that even hidden it still shows. Or maybe losing Jiho changed you in a way that makes your emotions more visible to them." They reached the science section, where Suman had been working with alien technology. She showed Minho some devices the Viridians had shared. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a crystal that glowed softly. "It responds to emotions. When I'm happy, it turns warm colors. When I'm sad, it turns cold colors. But it barely reacts to most humans." Minho touched the crystal. It immediately blazed with deep red and purple light. "Wow," Suman whispered. "I've never seen it do that before." Before Minho could respond, an alarm started ringing throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red. A voice over the speaker said, "Alert. Child missing in Sector 7. All personnel assist in search." Minho and Suman ran toward Sector 7. When they got there, they found a crowd of humans and aliens looking worried. A small Viridian child had wandered away from the group and gotten lost in the station's maze of corridors. "We've been looking for an hour," said Captain Lee Minje. "The little one doesn't speak our language, and we don't speak theirs." Minho looked around the area. The corridors all looked the same. A small child could easily get confused and scared. "Has anyone checked the observation deck on level 3? He asked. "Why would the child go there?" asked someone. "Kids like to look out windows. If I was scared and lost, I might go somewhere I could see outside." Minho started running toward the lifts. Other people followed him. When they reached level 3, they found the small Viridian child sitting by a large window crying softly. The child's crystal skin was dim and gray with fear. Minho approached slowly and knelt down to the child's eye level. He didn't speak because the child wouldn't understand his words. Instead, he held out his hand and smiled gently. The child looked at him with large silver eyes. Slowly, the child reached out and touched Minho's hand. Immediately, the child's skin began to glow with warmer colors. "It's okay," Minho said softly, even though the child couldn't understand. "You're safe now." He picked up the child carefully and carried him back to the group. The child's parents rushed forward, speaking rapidly in their musical language. They seemed to be thanking Minho over and over. Queen Lyrelay was there too. She watched as Minho gently handed the child to his parents. The queen's skin was glowing bright. "Gold, you found him quickly," she said to Minho. "I just thought about where I would go if I was small and scared." "You thought like a child. To help a child." "I thought like someone who needed help." The queen stared at him for a long moment. "We will continue our talks tomorrow," she said finally. "But I believe we are beginning to understand your people better." As the crowd broke up, Minho felt hopeful for the first time since the talks began. Maybe humans and Viridians were more alike than anyone had thought. Maybe they just needed to learn how to show it. The third day of talks started better than the others. The queen seemed more interested in the humans, asking many questions about their families and feelings. She especially wanted to know about human children and how they were protected. Minho felt more comfortable too. The queen still looked at him often, but now it felt friendly instead of suspicious. During the morning break, she even asked him about Earth's flowers and whether they smelled as sweet as the descriptions in human books. But the good feeling didn't last long. At midday, alarms started ringing again. This time it wasn't a lost child. The station's security chief, Nam Do-hyun, burst into the meeting room with his face red and angry. "We have a problem," he said. "There are other aliens on the station. They're not part of the Queen's group." Commander Thys stood up quickly. His crystal skin turned dark red. "General Veltar," he said with disgust. "I thought he was still on the home world." "Who is General Veltar?" asked Ambassador Chen. Queen Lyrelay's skin flickered with worried colors. He leads a group of Viridians who think aliens are dangerous. He believes we should stay away from other species. He's here to stop the peace talks, Commander Thys added. He probably brought soldiers. Nam Do-hyun nodded. We counted at least 20 armed aliens in the station's lower levels. They must have come on a hidden ship. We need to move everyone to a safe place, said Captain Lee Min-jae. No, said the Queen firmly. If we run and hide, Veltar wins. He can tell our people that humans are cowards who can't protect their guests. Then what do we do? Asked Dr. Kim Sua. Before anyone could answer, the lights went out. Emergency power came on a few seconds later, but the room was much darker now. Through the windows, they could see small ships flying around the station. They're cutting our power, said Suman, and blocking our communications. A new voice spoke from the room's speakers. It was deeper than the Queen's voice, but just as musical. Queen Lyrala, you have made a great mistake. These creatures are violent and dangerous. We have come to take you home. The Queen walked to the communication panel. General Veltar, you have no right to interfere with official diplomatic meetings. I have the right to protect our people from contamination. These beings spread violence and pain everywhere they go. Already they have infected you with their emotions. The humans have taught us much about courage and sacrifice. They have taught you to hide your feelings and carry pain alone. This is not the Viridian way. Minho stepped forward. Your Majesty, may I speak to him? The Queen looked surprised, but she nodded. General Veltar, Minho said to the speaker, we don't want to change your people or hurt them. We just want to learn from each other. You lie, came the reply. Your species kills each other in wars. You destroy your own planet. You will bring this violence to us. We have wars because we care about things. We fight to protect the people we love. You fight because you enjoy destruction. Suddenly the room shook. Something had hit the station. Through the windows they could see more ships approaching. He's attacking the station, said Nam Do-hyun. We need to get to the escape pods. Wait, said the Queen. If humans run from this fight, Veltar will use it as proof that you're weak. If you fight back, he'll say you're violent. What will you do? Minho looked at his team. Ambassador Chen was old and not a fighter. Dr. Kim Sua and Suman were scientists. Captain Lee Min-jae was tough, but only one person. Nam Do-hyun was strong, but they were greatly outnumbered. We'll protect you, Minho said simply. Even though you might die? Asked Commander Thys. Especially because we might die. The station shook again, harder this time. Alarms were ringing everywhere. They could hear the sound of metal breaking somewhere far away. The outer hull is damaged, said Captain Lee Min-jae, checking her tablet. We're losing air in some sections. Veltar is trying to force us to evacuate, said the Queen. If the station becomes unsafe, the talks will have to stop. Not if we can stop him first, said Nam Do-hyun. How? Asked Suman. We don't have weapons. Minho was thinking hard. The station had defensive systems, but they were controlled from the security center several levels down. Getting there would mean going through areas where Veltar's soldiers might be waiting. I can reach the security center, he said. That's too dangerous, said Ambassador Chen. There could be enemy soldiers anywhere. Someone has to try. The Queen grabbed Minho's arm. Her crystal skin was glowing bright white with worry. You could be killed. Maybe. But if I don't try, we'll definitely lose the talks. Veltar will win. Why does it have to be you? Minho touched his chest where the scar was hidden. Because I know how to take hits for other people. Before anyone could stop him, Minho headed for the door. Nam Do-hyun followed him. I'm coming with you, the security chief said. No, stay here and protect the others. If something happens to me, they'll need you. Minho left the room and started running toward the security center. The corridors were dark except for emergency lights. Twice he had to hide when he heard alien voices nearby. Once he saw 3 of Veltar's soldiers, but they were going the other way. When he reached the security center, he found the door had been forced open. Inside, alien soldiers had destroyed most of the controls, but the main defensive system was still working. Minho started typing commands into the computer. He had studied the station's systems during the trip here. If he could activate the outer defenses, he might be able to drive off Veltar's ships. Stop, said a voice behind him. Minho turned around. A tall alien soldier was pointing a weapon at him. This one looked different from the Queen's people. His crystal skin was dark and rough, and his eyes glowed red instead of silver. You are the one the Queen finds interesting, the soldier said. General Veltar wants to meet you. Sorry, but I'm busy right now. Minho dove behind a control panel just as the alien fired. The energy blast missed him and hit the wall, leaving a smoking hole. Minho kept working on the computer while staying hidden. You cannot escape, the soldier said. Surrender and we will not hurt your friends. I've got a better idea, said Minho. He finished typing the command and pressed the activation button. Outside, the station's defensive weapons came online. Through the windows, he could see them firing at Veltar's ships. The alien soldier fired again, but this time Minho was ready. He rolled to the side and threw a heavy tool at the alien's weapon. The tool hit its target and the weapon flew out of the soldier's hands. But the soldier was stronger than Minho. They fought hand to hand, crashing into control panels and walls. The alien's crystal skin was hard like armor. When Minho hit it, his hands hurt. Finally, the alien grabbed Minho and threw him against a sharp piece of broken metal. Minho felt pain tear through his chest as the metal reopened his old scar. Blood began to soak through his shirt. Now you will come with me, the soldier said. But before the alien could grab him again, the security center door burst open. Queen Lirali stood there, glowing so bright it was hard to look at her. Release him, she commanded. The soldier looked confused. Your Majesty? You should not be here. It is dangerous. I said release him. The soldier hesitated. In that moment of confusion, Minho managed to activate the station's internal defenses. Security barriers slammed down, trapping the soldier. Queen Lirale rushed to Minho's side. He was sitting against the wall, holding his chest where blood was seeping through his fingers. You're hurt, she said. I'm okay. Is everyone else safe? Yes, the defensive weapons drove off most of Veltar's ships. The few soldiers left on the station are trapped. The queen knelt beside Minho and gently moved his hands away from the wound. When she saw the blood soaking through his shirt, her skin changed to deep blue. You need medical help, she said. It's just the old scar opening up again. I'll be fine. No, she said firmly. You will not be fine. But I can help you. She placed her crystal hands on his chest, right over the bleeding wound. Minho felt a strange tingling sensation like electricity that didn't hurt. What are you doing? He asked. Healing you. But more than that. I need to understand this wound. I need to understand why you would risk your life for people you barely know. Her hands began to glow. The light seemed to sink into his skin, into the scar itself. Minho felt the queen's mind touching his, and suddenly she was seeing his memories. She saw the day Jiho died. She felt Minho's fear and anger and desperate love. She experienced the moment when he chose to throw himself between the weapons and the ship full of families. She felt his pain when the blast hit him, and his greater pain when he learned that Jiho had died anyway. But she also felt something else. She felt how the scar had changed him, how it reminded him every day that some things were worth dying for, how it made him stronger, not weaker. This is where my heart rests, she whispered, tracing the scar with one crystal finger. Minho looked into her silver eyes and saw that everything had changed. She understood now. She understood what it meant to be human. The queen's words echoed through the damaged security center. This is where my heart rests. Her crystal finger traced Minho's scar, and he could feel something changing between them. Not just understanding, but a connection deeper than words. Your Majesty, Minho said quietly. What do you mean? The queen's silver eyes glowed softly. In our culture, we have an old legend about warriors who could carry the pain of others. We thought it was just a story. But your scar shows me it's real. She helped him sit up straighter, her healing light still working on his wound. The scar holds your brother's memory, your love for him, your pain, and your choice to protect others. All of these emotions live together in one place. This is something my people have never seen. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Commander Thys appeared in the doorway with Nam Do-hyun and the others close behind. Your Majesty, are you safe? Thys asked, his crystal skin flickering with worry. We are both safe now, the queen replied, but we have much to discuss. They returned to the main meeting room where the trapped alien soldier had been moved to a holding area. The station's defenses had successfully driven off General Veltar's remaining ships, but the damage was done. Word of the attack would spread quickly through both human and Viridian space. Ambassador Chen looked tired and worried. This changes everything, he said. General Veltar will claim we're too dangerous to work with. He'll say we brought violence to your people. He will try, agreed Commander Thys. Many Viridians fear change. They will listen to his words. The queen sat across from the human delegation. but her attention kept returning to Minho. "There is a way to prove that humans are not what Veltar claims," she said slowly. "What do you mean?" asked Dr. Kim Sua. "Among my people there is an ancient ceremony called the sharing of hearts. It allows one person to show their deepest emotions to others. If humans are willing to undergo this ceremony, our people will see the truth about your species." Soman frowned. "What would that involve exactly?" "The person being tested would have their emotions shared with everyone present. All their feelings, memories, and motivations would be open for others to experience. It requires great courage because nothing can be hidden." "That sounds terrifying," said Captain Lee Minjae. "It is," the Queen admitted, "but it is also the only way to prove that human emotions come from love, not hatred." Minho touched his healing chest. The Queen's treatment had stopped the bleeding, but he could still feel the scar beneath his shirt. "I'll do it." "Absolutely not," said Ambassador Chen immediately. "It's too risky. We don't know what effects this ceremony might have on a human mind." "Someone has to try," Minho replied. "If we don't, the talks fail. Veltar wins and our species never get to know each other." Dr. Kim Sua leaned forward. "What are the risks, Your Majesty?" The Queen's skin shifted to worried blue colors. "For Viridians, the ceremony is difficult but safe. For humans, we don't know. Your minds work differently than ours. The experience might be overwhelming." "I can handle it," Minho said. "You don't understand," the Queen continued. "Everyone who participates will feel everything you feel. They will experience your pain as if it were their own. Your grief over your brother, your guilt, your fear, all of it will be shared." Nam Dohyun spoke up. "Then he won't do it alone. I'll share the ceremony with him." "So will I," said Sumin. "And me," added Dr. Kim Sua. Captain Lee Minjae nodded. "Count me in too." Ambassador Chen looked around at his team. "Are you all certain about this? Once we agree, there's no going back." "We're certain," said Minho, speaking for all of them. "This is what humans do. We face difficult things together." The Queen's skin began to glow with golden light. "This is exactly what Veltar doesn't understand about your species. You don't just feel emotions individually. You share them to make each other stronger." Over the next few hours, they prepared for the ceremony. The Queen explained that it would take place in a special chamber on the station designed for Viridian rituals. Representatives from both species would attend, including some of Veltar's followers who had remained on the station. "They will try to make you look bad," warned Commander Thesis. "They will focus on the violent parts of your memories and ignore the love behind them." "Let them," said Minho. "The truth is stronger than lies." As evening approached, they gathered in the ceremony chamber. It was a circular room with a domed ceiling that showed the stars outside. Crystals around the walls glowed with soft light that responded to emotions. About 20 Viridians were present, including several who clearly supported General Veltar. Their crystal skin was dark and unfriendly. The human team sat in the center of the room with the Queen nearby. "Before we begin," announced the Queen, "you must understand what you will experience. These humans will share their deepest emotions with us. You will feel their pain, their joy, their love, and yes, their anger. But you will feel it as they do, with all the context and meaning they give it." One of Veltar's supporters spoke up. "Your Majesty, this is foolish. These creatures will overwhelm us with their violence." "Then you will learn the truth about their violence," the Queen replied calmly. She moved to the center of the room where the humans sat. "Are you ready?" Minho nodded. "We're ready." The Queen placed her hands on Minho's shoulders. The other humans joined hands around him. Immediately, the crystals in the room began to glow brighter. "Think of your brother," the Queen said softly to Minho. Minho closed his eyes and remembered Jiho, his little brother's laugh, the way he always tried to help people, how he volunteered to go on the evacuation ship because he wanted to comfort the scared children. The memories flowed out of Minho like water from a broken dam, but they didn't just stay with him. Through the Queen's touch and the ceremony's power, every person in the room began to experience them too. They felt Minho's love for his brother. They experienced his pride in Jiho's kindness. They felt his terror when the evacuation ship was attacked. They lived through his desperate decision to put himself between the weapons and the innocent families. But most importantly, they felt why he made that choice. Not from anger or hatred, but from love so strong it was willing to die for strangers. The Viridians in the room gasped as the emotions hit them. Several began to cry, their crystal skin shifting through colors of sorrow and wonder. Even Veltar's supporters looked shocked. The sharing continued. They felt Dr. Kim Sua's dedication to understanding other minds. They experienced Sumin's excitement about discovering new forms of life. They felt Nam Do-hyun's protective instincts and Captain Lee Min-jae's courage in dangerous situations. Through it all, they felt the human team supporting each other. When one person's pain became too much, the others helped carry it. When someone felt overwhelmed, the group's strength lifted them up. "This is impossible," whispered one of Veltar's followers. "No species can share emotions like this." "They're not sharing emotions the way we do," said Commander Thys, his own skin glowing with amazement. "They're choosing to carry each other's burdens. It's completely different." The ceremony reached its peak when they experienced Minho's scar, not just the physical pain, but everything it represented. The sacrifice, the loss, the choice to keep protecting people even after being hurt. In that moment, every Viridian in the room understood what the Queen had meant when she said, "This is where my heart rests." The scar wasn't just a wound. It was a symbol of love so strong it could transform pain into strength. When the ceremony ended, the room was silent except for the soft sounds of Viridians crying. Even Veltar's most loyal supporters looked changed by what they had experienced. The Queen stood up slowly, her skin glowing brighter than anyone had ever seen it. "Now you understand," she said to the room. "These beings don't hide their emotions from weakness. They contain them to protect others. They don't fight from hatred. They fight from love." One of Veltar's supporters stood up shakily. I need to contact the general. He must know what we have learned here." "Yes," said the Queen, "he must know. And so must all our people." As the Viridians left the chamber, many of them approached the humans to touch their hands or simply bow in respect. The ceremony had changed everything, but Minho knew this was just the beginning. The real test would come when they faced General Veltar himself. 3 days after the ceremony, General Veltar returned to Harmony's Edge. But this time he came alone and asked for permission to board. The Queen granted it, though Commander Thys and Nam Do-hyun both insisted on extra security. Minho watched through the observation deck windows as Veltar's ship docked with the station. The general was older than the other Viridians, his crystal skin darker and more weathered. When he walked, it was with the careful movements of someone who had seen many battles. "Are you nervous?" asked Sumin, joining Minho at the window. "A little," he admitted. The ceremony changed the people who were here, but Veltar wasn't part of it. He only heard about it secondhand. The Queen says he's been talking to his followers. They told him what they experienced. Hearing about something isn't the same as feeling it yourself. They met in the main conference room. General Veltar sat across from the humans, his red eyes studying each of them carefully. His skin stayed dark gray, showing no emotion. "I have heard remarkable stories about your species," he said finally. His voice was deeper than the Queen's, rougher around the edges. "What kind of stories?" asked Ambassador Chen. "My soldiers tell me you share pain willingly. They say you choose to carry others' burdens even when it hurts you. They claim this makes you stronger, not weaker." "It's true," said Dr. Kim Sua. "Humans have learned that shared difficulties are easier to bear than individual ones." General Veltar's skin flickered slightly. "This goes against everything I believed about your species. I thought you were violent creatures who spread destruction wherever you went." "We can be violent," Minho said honestly. "When the people we love are threatened, we will fight. But we fight to protect, not to destroy." "Show me the difference." The Queen leaned forward. "General, would you be willing to undergo the sharing of hearts ceremony? To experience human emotions directly?" Veltar was quiet for a long moment. His skin shifted through different shades of gray as he considered. "I am old," he said finally. "I have fought many battles and seen much death. Your emotions might be too strong for me." "We'll be gentle," promised Minho. "We'll start small and let you get used to it. And if I don't like what I feel, then you can stop any time," said the Queen. "But I believe you need to understand these beings before you judge them." Veltar looked around the room at the humans. "Very well, but I want to understand your violence first. Show me your worst memories." The ceremony began differently this time. Instead of the large chamber, they used a smaller room with just the general, the Queen, Minho, and a few others present. The Queen placed her hands on both Minho and Veltar, creating a connection between them. "Think about the war," she said to Minho. Think about the fighting. Minho's memories flowed into Veltar's mind. The general experienced the chaos of battle, the fear, the anger, the desperate need to stop the enemy before they could hurt more innocent people. He felt the moment when Minho made the choice to fly his small ship into danger. But along with the violence, Veltar felt something else. He felt Minho's love for his brother. He felt the protective instinct that drove humans to risk everything for others. He felt the pain that came not from being hurt but from watching others suffer. "This is unexpected," Veltar said, his skin beginning to show color for the first time. "Your violence comes from caring too much, not too little." "Yes," said Minho. "We fight because we love, not because we hate." The sharing continued. Veltar experienced more human memories from all the team members. He felt Nam Do-yeon's dedication to protecting people. He felt Captain Lee Min-jae's courage in dangerous situations. He felt Dr. Kim Sua's desire to help others understand themselves. Most importantly, he felt how they supported each other. When the memories became too painful, the humans shared the burden among themselves. When someone felt overwhelmed, the others lifted them up. "Your species has mastered something mine has not," Veltar said when the ceremony ended. His skin was now glowing with soft blues and greens. "You have learned to transform suffering into strength." "We had to," said Suman. "Humans face many difficulties. If we carried all our pain alone, we would break under the weight. So you choose to break together, and in breaking together, you become stronger." "Something like that," agreed Minho. General Veltar stood up and walked to the window. Outside, stars glittered in the darkness of space. "I came here to stop these talks because I believed your species would contaminate ours with violence and pain. Now I see that you might teach us something valuable instead." "What's that?" asked the Queen. "How to carry difficult emotions without being destroyed by them. How to turn scars into sources of strength rather than weakness." He turned back to face the humans. "I formally withdraw my objections to the alliance. More than that, I request that my people be allowed to study your emotional practices." The Queen's skin blazed with golden light. "The alliance is approved." Over the following weeks, everything changed quickly. The Sharing of Hearts ceremony was performed for Viridian leaders across their empire. Each time, the aliens came away with a new understanding of human nature. Humans weren't emotionally primitive. They were emotionally sophisticated in ways the Viridians had never imagined. They had learned to process pain, transform trauma, and use suffering as a foundation for growth. The formal treaty was signed a month later, but the real alliance had begun the moment Queen Lirelai traced Minho's scar and understood what it meant. The scar became the symbol of the new partnership between species, a proof that wounds could heal into sources of connection rather than division. Minho was appointed as the first human Viridian emotional ambassador. His job was to help both species learn from each other's ways of handling feelings and relationships. The Queen remained his closest partner in this work. Their connection, formed through shared understanding of pain and healing, became the foundation for everything that followed. "I never thought my scar would become famous across the galaxy," Minho said one day as they worked together on the station. "It's not the scar that's famous," the Queen replied. "It's what the scar represents. The idea that love can be stronger than pain, that wounds can become bridges instead of walls, and that sometimes the things that break us can also make us whole." The Queen's skin glowed with warm colors. "Your brother would be proud of what you've accomplished." Minho touched his chest where the scar remained. It still hurt sometimes, especially when he was tired or stressed. But now it meant something different. It wasn't just a reminder of loss. It was a symbol of connection, of the bonds that could form between people who chose to share their burdens. Years later, when historians wrote about the alliance between humans and Viridians, they called it the Scar Treaty. They wrote about the ceremony that changed everything, about the general who learned to see violence as protection, about the Queen who found her heart in a human's wound. But for Minho, the most important part was simpler. Two very different species had learned to understand each other. They had discovered that love could cross any barrier, even the space between stars. In the end, that was worth every scar. The alliance grew stronger each year. Other alien species joined, drawn by the promise of the emotional wisdom that humans and Viridians shared. The galaxy became a place where different peoples could connect not just through trade or treaties, but through genuine understanding of each other's hearts and at the center of it all was a simple truth that Minho had learned through pain, and the Queen had learned through touching his scar. The strongest bonds are forged not in moments of joy, but in the choice to carry each other's burdens. The universe was vast and full of different forms of life. But love, it turned out, was a universal language. It just took the right translator to help everyone understand.